Welcome back to Bearcast Blitz.
Welcome to Bearcast Blitz. We're keeping that in, where we tell you all of your favorite teams, and we tell you what games to watch next week, and what the spread is, and we do it as quick as we can.
Because we're blitzing.
Because we're blitzing,
Yeah.
and we have a timer, so we're gonna do it faster than we want to because there's a timer.
Yes.
Blitz, baby.
Blitz, baby.
Blitz.
Hi, my name's Hayden. My favorite team is the Colts. My secondary favorite team currently is the Bengals, even though they're not doing too hot.
All right. My name is Chase Younts. My favorite team is Cincinnati Bengals. You know, we'll get back at it. We'll be cool. And then my secondary team is the Detroit Lions.
My name is Zach. Obviously, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals guy, and my second team, I can't decide between the Falcons and the Dolphins. I've lived in both those states, so I have a reason to root for them both, but I can't pick.
Blitz starts in 3, 2, 1. AFC North.
AFC North. We got finally the Bengals secure their first win. We had a 19-16 victory over the Rams in prime time. Very, very exciting. Shout out to Evan McPherson and that Bengals D. The Ravens had a hilarious loss to the Indianapolis Colts of 22-19, an overtime spectacle starring Gardner Minshew. The Steelers beat the Raiders 23-18, not much to report there. And the Browns demolished the Titans, holding them to only a field goal while they themselves scored 27 points. Next week, the Titans get a AFC North rematch where the Bengals come to their house. The Titans are favored by 1 point right now. The Ravens are playing at the Browns. We got an AFC North clash. The Browns are currently favored by 2.5 points. And then the Steelers are traveling down to Texas to play the Texans, and the Steelers are favored by 3. That leaves the AFC North standings at Steelers number 1 at 2-1, Ravens number 2 at 2-1, Browns number 3 at 2-1, and Bengals all the way at the bottom at 1-2. That's the AFC North.
We'll get there.
AFC East.
All right, in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins beat the brakes off the Denver Broncos 70-20, putting up record-breaking numbers, 726 yards of offense, 10 touchdowns. They're oozing confidence down there in South Florida, and they are hard to stop. They play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS, and they are 2.5-point underdogs going into that one. Speaking of the Bills, they beat the Commanders. They got back to form. They won 37-3 against an undefeated Commander squad who, looked as though they were coming up. I don't know. I mean, the Commanders, they got put back in their place. They ran the ball well, other than Josh Allen, taking advantage of turnovers. And like I said, they play the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. It's going to be a big game. They're favored by 2.5 points. The Patriots beat the Jets on Sunday. Both teams are 1-2. The Patriots won 15-10 in a rainy game. New England, they always find a way to get a dub. They find a way. Bill Belichick, Bill O'Brien, Mac Jones played decently, good enough to win this game. They take on the Dallas Cowboys, who are 2-1. They play Sunday, 4:25 on Fox. They are 7-point underdogs going into that one. And the New York Jets, man, they cannot get it right without Aaron Rodgers back there at quarterback. 4 snaps, just not good. Jets have an unbearable and unsolvable issue with Zach Wilson because he sucks. He's terrible. And then they play the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, the 2-1 Chiefs who, got back to form. There's reports that Taylor Swift's going to be at that game. And, man, I mean, this is going to be a tough thing to, kind of shake off that loss. And it's going to get rough. Sunday Night Football, 8:20 on NBC, 9.5-point underdogs. That's the AFC East for you. Dolphins 3-0 in the standings. They're 3-0. The Bills are 2-1. The Patriots 1-2, and the Jets are 1-2. Here we go.
AFC East. Colts beat the Ravens. They are now 2-1 at a 27-13 game, overtime. Matt Gay, incredible kicker, best kicker in the AFC for the week. They are against the Rams. Colts are favored by 1. Texans, they are 1-2. They beat the Jaguars 37-17. That was a very shocking game. Jags looking like they were going to take over the AFC South and then losing that big against the Texans. Tough loss for the Jaguars. Texans are against the Steelers. Steelers are supposed to win that by 3. Jaguars, just talked about them. They lost to the Texans. They are in London against the Falcons. The Jaguars are supposed to win by 3. That is the Toy Story Nickelodeon game. So if you're a kid out there and you remember those Nickelodeon games with Patrick and SpongeBob, that is out. Toy Story is in London. Early game. Watch that. The Titans are 1-2. They lost to the Cleveland Browns. Terrible for the Titans. Titans looking absolutely just got obliterated. They look awful out there. Ryan Tannehill needs to get off the field. They are against the Bengals. Somehow Titans are favored by 1. The AFC South standings right now. Colts are number 1 at 2-1. Texans and Jaguars. Texans are number 2 at 1-2. Jaguars are number 3 at 1-2. Titans are number 4, also at 1-2. AFC West.
Well, I mean, if I'll take it away for the AFC West, it's a pretty interesting thing that went on with them. Obviously, we talked about the Broncos getting the break speed off of them by 50 points. They scored 20 points somehow, so you do the math there, and it's not looking good for their defense. Sean Payton, not a great start. Russell Wilson playing okay, but they got to get some things figured out. It's not looking too good for them going forward. Then you got the Chiefs. They got back to form. They took down the Bears. They handled them pretty well. I mean, at halftime, they switched the game over to the Cowboys-Cardinals game, which, that's really rare for a number 1 national television game to get switched over at halftime. So, game of the week, and I don't know why they did that, so thanks NFL schedule makers for nothing. You got the Chargers, and the Chargers beat the Vikings in a much-needed game for them. Both teams are 0-2. Justin Herbert playing better than ever. They somehow got the win. They've had some questionable coaching, and an interception saved Brandon Staley's job. So the Chargers got on the win column, and then the Raiders lost to the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Another questionable coaching decision by Josh McDaniels, kick a field goal when he was down 8. And, I mean, the Raiders are just going to Raiders, so nothing well is going to happen with them. Looking forward for this division, the Chiefs are in the lead. They are 2-1. They're going to be taking on the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football. Very excited to see that game. Then you look at the Chargers. I believe they're taking on the Raiders in the divisional clash at 4:05 on CBS, so they're going to try to get out of the cellar. And then you look at the Denver Broncos. They're playing in probably the worst game of the year on paper against the Chicago Bears. Both teams are 0-3, and someone's going to have a rainier day than the other person in that game. So,
Such a terrible
yeah,
game.
that's the AFC West for you.
NFC North, Packers, 2-1. They beat the Saints with all of their points being scored in the fourth quarter. Absolutely incredible come-from-behind win to win against the Saints by 1 point, 17-18. They're against the Lions on Thursday Night Football, so we're not going to talk about them because this episode's coming out after Thursday night.
What a game.
It was a great game. Lions, speaking of, they are also 2-1. They beat the Falcons 20-6 to beat down win. Lions looking real good out there. They, again, against the Packers on Thursday Night Football. Not going to talk about that much. Vikings lost the Chargers. They're now 0-3. It was a way high-scoring game on both sides, 28-24. They are against the Panthers, and the Vikings are projected to win by 4.5 points. On to the Bears, the worst team in the league, and we know that now because they lost to the Chiefs 10-41. They are against the Broncos, and they're pretty much fighting for who is the worst team in the league. Broncos or Bears, they're like 31-32. And the Broncos are supposed to win by 3.5 points. NFC East.
The NFC East, it had a lot of stuff going on there. Looking back on it, the Eagles are leading this division at 3-0. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football, 25-11. That game was seen on ABC. Jalen Hurts played pretty well. A.J. Brown got in the mix. And then DeAndre Swift, I mean, he's been running the football really well behind that Eagles offensive line. Looked pretty good for them. They play this week. The Washington Commanders is actually going to be a pretty big game for them, 3-0 versus 2-1. So excited to see what goes on there. The Dallas Cowboys suffered an embarrassing loss against the Arizona Cardinals, who were 0-2. Just when you thought Dallas was, catching stride and they were the best team in the NFL to start the season off, they came crashing down in the desert. And boy, oh boy, it did not look good for them. I mean, Dak Prescott was throwing the ghost and guys for the other team, and it just, it helped out the Cardinals quite a bit. Yeah. This week, the Cowboys take on the Patriots at 4:25 on Fox. The Cowboys are going to be favored by a touchdown and definitely try to get back into things. You look at the Commanders, talked about them already. It didn't look good against the Bills. It might not look good again this week against the Eagles. They got a lot of stuff to figure out. Eric Bieniemy, the new offensive coordinator, has got to get some things going, and we'll see if they're able to bounce back against a tough divisional opponent. And then the New York Giants, they took on the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday Night Football. this past week. They got the break speed off them. Didn't look too good. They got to find a rhythm on offense. It's, not the best thing going for them, but they do play the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football. It's on ESPN and ABC. And right now it is even. You don't have a favorable matchup in that one. So, betting fans, strap up and see what happens by Monday.
NFC South.
All right, so this week on the NFC South, first of all, we have the Atlanta Falcons, who unfortunately did lose to the Lions. Pretty brutal loss to 20-6. Didn't even put up a touchdown. Bijan, their new star-studded rookie running back, was held to disappointing numbers. I want to say, I have it somewhere. 10 for 33 on the ground and 4 for 27 in the air. No touchdowns. Those are just embarrassing numbers from a 7th overall pick. Let's see. Next we have the Buccaneers. They lost to the Eagles. I mean, I was caught up in the Buccaneers hype, I'm not going to lie, but I can't say I was too surprised by the 25-11 loss to, the reigning Super Bowl losers. Saints, they just barely lost to those Packers. Just let them, absolutely ride a monstrous comeback in the fourth quarter. Really embarrassing for the Saints. But a lot of that can be chalked down to Derek Carr, who went down with a shoulder injury. And famous Jameis had to step in, and, we all know how that'll go. Last but not least, we have the Panthers, the holder of the number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, who did not start for them. Instead, Andy Dalton, former Bengal, started. And they continued their losing streak by losing to the Seahawks 37-27. But again, didn't look terrible. Definitely, weaker defensive game, but their offense looked okay. Next week we have Falcons at Jaguars, with the Jaguars favored by 3 points. And again, that's that Toy Story Sunday 9:30 a.m. England game. So get ready for that. We have Buccaneers at the Saints. Saints are favored by 3. Can't say I understand or agree with that. And then the Panthers play the Vikings. Vikings are favored by 3.5. But that will be the battle of the 0-3s. So this is a big game for these two teams. So that leaves us with the standings. We have the Atlanta Falcons still on top at 2-1. We have the Saints right behind them, also at 2-1, and the Buccaneers right behind them, also at 2-1. And then we have a pretty big drop off to the Panthers, who again are 0-3.
All right.
NFC West.
All right, 8th and final division. I got a little bit of pressure to put on here. 49ers beat the Giants 30-12. Fast start from them makes them look like one of the scariest teams in the National Football League. Big Cock Brock finds a way. It's pretty awesome. I just said I don't care. But, finds a way. 310 yards passing. Does a really good job. They play the Cardinals this week, who are 1-2. Sunday, 4:05 on Fox, and they are 14-point favorites. So, run to Vegas and bet that one. Seahawks beat the Panthers, as we just talked about, 37-27. The run game is the pulse of Seattle. They're starting to find their identity. Kenneth Walker's been playing really well. Zach Charbonnet stepping up. Geno Smith trying to find his footing, and they take on the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. That's an even spread at this moment. The Rams lost to the Bengals 19-16. I was at that game. Very glad that result came out the way it did. Matt Stafford was under a ton of pressure. He got sacked 6 times, threw 2 interceptions. Really nice to see that happen, but not for the Rams fans. Red zone struggles were huge. They settled for field goals every so often. I mean, they had 3 field goals in the red zone, so not looking too good for them. They have a very underrated receiving core that they can try to get, intact. Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. Once Cooper Kupp gets back, Ben Skoranek, the Van Jefferson. There's so many names that you throw out there. They play the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, 1 o'clock on Fox, and the Rams are 1-point underdogs. The Cardinals, the shock of the week, beating the Cowboys 28-16. The ground game was the winner on Sunday. They ran for 222 yards. James Conner got active. Josh Dobbs played loose. They got a lead on the Cowboys, and they forced Dak to play from behind. And we know one thing about Dak. He does not come up clutch in the big moment. And that's exactly what happened on Sunday. Did not come up clutch. They take on the Niners, 3-0 in San Francisco, 4:05 on Fox, and they are 14-point underdogs. The standings go as the Niners at 3-0, the Seahawks at 2-1, the Rams at 1-2, and the Cardinals at 1-2.
That was our blitz. We made it under
5
15
seconds to
minutes.
spare.
Yeah, here we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Fantasy. According to Fantasy Pros, here are your top 10 fantasy players for week 3.
Yeah, let me give you a spoiler alert. Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Fastest team
lot
in
of
the league.
fins.
Dolphins.
Speaking
Lot
of,
fins.
the Devon A-Chain and Raheem Mostert 1 and 2. Devon A-Chain with 47.3 points. Raheem Mostert with 38.2.
2 running backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
On the same team.
On the same
On
team.
the same team. Unbelievable.
That which is
1 and 2.
crazy.
Yep. There you go.
Ridiculous.
Yep. Exactly.
Who had Devon A-Chain in their lineup going into week 3?
I want to say on ESPN he was rostered in like 30% of leagues.
That's
I
ridiculous.
wonder who started him.
Yeah,
Yes.
like who even who
Props
started
to
him?
that person, or they
Yeah.
had a bunch of injuries on their team. So
Crazy thing. Defense special teams for the Bills, number 3.
Another
With 32 points.
Another week where
Yep.
we have a defense, this high. It was the Cowboys in week 1.
Cowboys week
That
1.
is just insane.
Bills week 3, man.
yeah,
Wow.
Sam Howell 4 picks. Those NFC East offenses are not looking too good.
Not looking good.
No.
Our first QB, Justin Herbert, at number 4 with 29.3 points.
Yep.
No surprise there.
Can't say
been
that I'm
balling.
surprised.
He's been
I'm
balling.
not surprised. Devontae Adams, first wide receiver on the board, number 5 with 29.2. Again, can't say I'm surprised. Devontae Adams is an amazing wide receiver, great fantasy wide receiver. Quarterback, not the greatest, but
Yeah, got him the
Devontae
ball.
Adams is great.
Got him the ball. What do you
Yeah.
have? He said 35 points, I believe, or
He 29.2.
29 points.
29.2.
29.2. Yep.
Tua, second quarterback on the board. Again, Miami, 28.4 points. He is number 6. Can't say I'm surprised. Here's where the surprise happens. Lamar Jackson, number 7, 28.2 points. He lost that game.
Yeah.
But so I'm surprised to see him up there. But he made some pretty good completions. So
Yeah.
I'm not super surprised, but I am surprised to see him in the top 10.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, the third running back from Seattle, 27.6 points. 8th, not surprised.
Had a big day.
Had a big day.
He was in my lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, wide receiver, 27.5. He's with the Chargers. He is the clear wide receiver 1 with the Chargers.
Let me mention this real quick.
Yeah.
18 catches? 18
catches.
for 215 yards
And a passing touchdown.
and threw a touchdown.
And a passing touchdown.
Yeah.
He did
threw a
everything.
touchdown.
He did everything.
Crazy.
Threw a touchdown.
Did everything.
It's crazy.
Fortunately, the guy,
I can say one of the best players in my lineup is Keenan Allen,
Yeah.
by far.
Yeah.
And the number 10, Kirk Cousins.
Big Kirko.
Big Kirko,
Kirk,
man.
he leads the league in passing,
Yeah.
and his
Yeah.
team sucks right now. So.
It's
He's the best quarterback of the 0-3 teams.
yeah.
Oh, by far.
A couple of observations. 1, I don't see Tyreek Hill. I'm surprised about that.
A little
Yeah.
surprised, yeah.
And 2, at number 13, 13th highest fantasy player, we have kicker Matt Gay.
Props.
I have some
Big
stats
game for Matt Gay.
Matt
Oh,
Gay.
and also, I should just say real quick, we are using Fantasy Pros
Fantasy
for these
Pro.
rankings.
Yep,
I
Fantasy
understand
Pros.
ESPN has the numbers a little bit different.
Yep.
But just wanted to, for our show, we use Fantasy Pros.
Pro.
Yep, we play fantasy, and we're kind of
Fantasy pros.
Yeah,
We're not
there we
really.
go. Yeah.
Stats for Matt Gay because he's so far up there. He had 4 makes from 50-plus yards out, including
Clutch.
the 53-yard game winner.
That's
That
clutch.
is crazy.
Incredible. Absolutely
That is
incredible.
crazy. I know
He-
McPherson had a very solid kicking game,
Yeah.
too.
He did.
Set the
Some
NFL
long
record
ones.
Yeah.
with the most
What, like
50
most
plus
50-plus yards?
50-plus kicks made in a game.
It's insane.
Absolutely crazy.
And it couldn't have happened against a better team.
Yeah, honestly.
Ravens suck.
Ravens
Yep.
suck.
Yep.
Boo.
Boo.
Clear my thoughts about the Ravens.
Couple things to note. T-Swizzle at the Kansas City Chiefs game. I mean, I know that
Travis Kelce's mom, nonetheless. She's
Right
already
next
got
to
the
him.
mother.
Yeah.
T-Swizzle and Donna Kelsey. Who would have thought of a better
I
duo?
know.
Not me.
I have heard from many people that Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map. In my eyes, Travis Kelce put Taylor Swift on the map.
Yeah, I don't-
It depends on who you think is more popular.
They were both on the map.
They were
but
both on the map,
They were
but I
both
think
on the
they've
map.
both been
They were on
boosted.
very different maps.
different
Yeah.
maps, but
Now
worlds
maybe
co-
we're on the
Now
same
we're in the
map.
same
worlds
map.
collide. That's,
Yep.
that's how it goes.
Yes.
It's like a crossover
And
special.
with rumors of Taylor Swift coming back and
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
Travis Kelce rock
Yeah.
the stage
Yeah,
again.
in NYC against those Jets.
Yeah.
Jets.
We could see a lot more Taylor Swift coverage,
Yeah.
which I am sick of.
Yes.
Every single
Everything.
like
Yes.
CBS Instagram post has had something to do with Taylor Swift. So, I'm okay if she doesn't make
It
the
was
I'm
cool.
also okay
It was
with
cool
that.
the first 12 hours, but
Yeah.
after that, it's
Something to note for the Saints, Alvin Kamara is off of suspension, so he will
Yeah.
be in their game.
That's good because Jamal Williams, the anime guy, he's been
hurt.
on IR. So.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So he will be back for the Saints.
Just in time for Derek Carr to leave, too.
yeah.
yeah.
So
hopefully that gives the Saints a little reprieve.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb's leg injury. They did release news that the MRI shows they believe it is only a torn MCL and a partially torn ACL, which in theory is not a career ender.
That's good.
For those of you who saw the injury, I would have bet everything on my life that it was a career ender, but they're saying it's not.
Oh, yeah.
So that is good news. As much as we hate the Browns, injuries suck. No one likes seeing injuries. I mean, unless it was Deshaun. But yeah, so
Deshaun Watson up there with
thoughts
one of the most
thoughts are
hated
with
players.
Nick Chubb right now.
For sure.
Burrow with his big calf injury. I know we don't want to get too much into injury, but I will just say for Burrow, wasn't very good outside the pocket, but he still managed to be elusive within the pocket. He delivered strong. The offense really started firing, and he's looking good. So that's all I could have asked for.
Yep, they need to be more balanced on offense and get the run game going and play some old school smash mouth football, and the Bengals will get back on track. Yeah, I will confirm that. But yeah, I'll say the Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots. The Dallas Cowboys are America's team. The Patriots are literally America's team. So you're gonna see some two annoying fan bases go at it on Sunday, and it's national television game. So get your popcorn ready is all I gotta say.
Yeah. Oh, I do have something interesting to talk about. So there are only 3 undefeated teams left. We have the 49ers, we have the Dolphins, and we have the Eagles. And I am curious, who do you guys think is going to last the longest? My vote is obviously with the Dolphins, but I do understand there is, a little bit of injury concern with Tua. How long is that line really going to hold up? I understand that, but I do believe the Dolphins are going to hold on the longest.
Now, I will mention this, actually. The Dolphins have started off 3-0 a couple of times in the past. They actually started off 3-0 last year. They started off 3-0 in 2018. Both of those times got knocked off by the Cincinnati Bengals. They play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday in Orchard Park. It will be tough, but they obviously have a good enough offense, a good enough team to go about it. I will go on ahead and say I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be the team that stays on the longest. They
also fair.
Play the Arizona Cardinals coming up. They play the Cowboys, who the Cowboys just seem to be scared of the Niners in every facet. So, I think the Niners are going to, last longer in that. And the Eagles play the Dolphins later on, play week 7. Sure. So one of those teams is going to end up getting knocked off by then if they're already not undefeated. So.
I hate to be that guy, but I think the Eagles are going to be the ones that hold on the longest.
Did not play this.
Looking at who they have coming up next: Commanders, Rams, Jets.
Yeah.
I think at least those 3 games are. They've got a couple easy weeks.
Yep. But then
they got
Dolphins,
they got
the Cowboys, they got Bills after that.
They've got Dolphins, and then they've got the Commanders again. But I think if they can,
the Chiefs and the Niners.
Yeah, it's valid all around.
I think they're getting past 3 weeks, and I do not think that the Dolphins or the Niners are getting through 3 weeks lasting 3 more weeks staying undefeated.
Okay.
So I think if the Eagles can get past these 3 weeks, then they're going to be the last undefeated team going against the Dolphins.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting. Obviously, you got that game on Sunday night and everything, so week 7. But I also ask this, though. You got 4 0-3 teams, and both they both play each other this weekend. You got the Bears and the Broncos, and you got the Vikings and the Panthers. Which one stays winless for the longest time?
The Vikings have been too good to not have a win, and the Panthers just don't look good right now. Their entire defense is injured. So I say the Vikings take the win. As for Bears-Broncos, is it possible for them both to lose?
I would like to see how that goes.
I would not be surprised if they tie the game and somehow they still get a loss.
Yeah.
They don't even give them the tie. They just get they both get a loss.
Yep.
I think the Bears are the worst team going into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Broncos, I think, are looking for something to prove with that 70-point deficit or 50-point deficit, 70-20 game.
Are so embarrassed after last week.
I think they're looking for something to prove. I think the Bears are going to come out with a loss and be the remaining winless team.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think the Bears are just in absolute shambles. Yeah. I will say that proudly because we don't play them this year. But Chicago, it's not looking good. Justin Fields is literally in press conferences today, which is Wednesday, literally saying, the sky is blue and the grass is green and it's only week 3. Week 4, actually. You got issues. This is a problem. And their defensive coordinator, resigned, and they had a bunch of stuff stolen from the facility, and it's not looking good in Chicago.
It's been a bad week for the Bears.
It's been really bad, but I don't know.
Not to mention, this time last year they were doing better.
Yeah.
And that's the season that led to the number 1 overall pick. So if they're doing worse now, I mean, they're going to get the first ever 0th pick or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? They're trying to get Caleb Williams, I guess. So
Yeah.
We'll see.
Moving on to our final segment, injury report. Couple things to note. Ravens have seven people out.
Absolutely
Seven
plagued
people
with
out.
injuries.
I
Their
think
starting
it's the last
center-
count that I saw.
Their starting center, one of their wide receiver 2, I believe, in Odell.
Yep.
Marlon Humphrey.
Both
Started
both
defensive
running
back.
backs. J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins, yeah, he's been hurt.
I can't remember the name of the other one,
Yeah,
but two of their running backs.
We
One
need
of
to
their
scroll.
tackles.
We need to scroll for the
Yeah,
injuries.
exactly.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Just
It's a lot.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Colts injury report. Ryan Kelly and Anthony Richardson are still in concussion protocol, but have returned to practice as of today.
Yep.
Partial practice, but still in concussion protocol. Hoping to see them against the Rams. We will see.
Yep. As Zach mentioned before, Joe Burrow did play in the game Monday night with the calf injury, was not 100%. But they had to walk through the day in the bubble downtown, and he was listed as full participant in walkthrough. He's going to try to practice limited or full the rest of this week and look to play against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday.
Yeah. We have Jalen Waddle, who is also coming off concussion protocol, but I do believe he was practicing today.
Yep.
And then Bryce Young coming off that ankle injury. I know he was limited practice with it wrapped up, but he's there. So.
Not to mention that Jalen Waddle didn't play.
Yeah,
in the
that's
70
the crazy thing. This insane game,
That's
and they were
insane.
missing their star-studded, possibly best in the league wide receiver 2. So I don't know if that says more about how good the rest of the Dolphins are, or just how bad the Broncos defense
How bad,
is.
man.
I don't know.
And they were so good last year. I understand it's just what was their Evio, their defensive coordinator from last year that Nathaniel Hackett hired, who has since left.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the only thing, but the Broncos defense, they have to figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of
I
good-
will say, I really do think they're going to just go to the Bears and just whoop them, though.
Yeah.
They are angry,
They got something to prove now.
and
they got something
Sean
to prove.
Payton is angry.
Yeah, not to mention that, he's got something to prove this week in week 4 because Sean Payton was talking in the offseason about the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett.
Worst coaching job I've ever seen.
They
about
play week
Nathaniel
5.
Hackett.
They play week 5.
They play week 5?
So we're very
Oh,
excited to talk about it
boy.
on the next
Yeah.
episode. I would
Oh
love
boy.
to see how that
Yeah,
goes.
That'll be
love
exciting.
to see that.
Mid-off, but
Yes.
For those of you viewers, every time we talk about today is Wednesday on our calendars. I know this is coming out on Saturday, but for right now, today's Wednesday. All of our updates are for Wednesday. Thank you for watching Bearcast Blitz. We had fun watching this. We hope that you had fun. We had fun making this. We hope that you had fun watching it. We will see you next week, hopefully, with Week 4 updates and where everybody's at and who they're playing. Thanks for watching. Bye.
see you.